welcome to another Zenphi tutorial. As you can tell by the title of today's video, we're going to be going over how you can automate the process of approving user access requests. It's very common that users are going to need access to different files in your Google Drive, but we want to make sure that these requests are taken care of as soon as possible and also monitored to make sure that the access is only granted the time that is needed. So let's go ahead and get started. The first step to any Zenphi flow is to set up your trigger, which in Zenphi is the action that initiates your flow. For this example, we're using a Zenphi form trigger. So after we select the trigger, we can go ahead and configure the form. You're able to add different questions, same as with a Google form. However, there are some additional perks. So one of the perks from Google form is this option which allows us to pull up records from a Zenphi table. So I've gone ahead and created a table previously where we have the name of different documents, the person who's going to be in charge of approving, their email, as well as the file ID. So to be able to pull up that information in the form, what I'm going to do is add a clause. So here I'm indicating that whenever the ID is not null, please return the record, meaning I want it to return all of them. And we can also choose which column we want to display. So in this case, I've chosen the document name. That way they're able to choose in the form either company policies, brand guidelines, financial reports, etc. And the other questions that I've added is the access level that they need, either viewer access, editor access, commenter access, and then the duration of the access, whether it's 1 day, 1 week, indefinite, etc. Now we're going to go ahead and start with the different actions or steps. So the first one that we have is this action to be able to retrieve the requester's information. So the action is called lookup user information. All you have to do is set up your connection to your Google directory by clicking on the plus icon. This connection can be private or shared. So after you click on authorize, which is going to grant Zenphi permission to be able to access your Google directory, you can indicate the email of the person that you want to retrieve the information for. So in this case, we're going to be using the email of the initiator. So if we open up the initiator email, we can get it here. Just make sure that in your form you've indicated that you want to make sure you save their emails and the authentication is required. Next, since we're going to need approval from their manager, we want to look up the person's manager. So this action is called lookup manager. Once again, set up your connection. You have to indicate the email of the person who you want the manager for. So using this icon here, the token picker, we're going to go ahead and open up our previous action requester information and select their user primary email. And then what we're going to do is pull up the rest of the information from the table of the document that you selected, since we want to be able to get the file ID, the person who needs to approve, and their email. To do that, what we're going to do is use the get record action. Here we're going to select the table where everything is stored, and in record ID, since we use the lookup function, we can simply use the token picker, and it's going to be one of the suggestions here. And here we can choose what we want to return. I've selected all of the different fields that are available. And now we're going to go ahead and ask the manager for approval. So to do that, we're going to use the assign task action. This allows you to send a task to someone to either approve, reject. You can add different outcomes. You can add the task name, the task description. And as you can see, I've used the token picker to add more information so that they have more details. And here in the assignee email, the person that's going to receive the task is going to be their manager. So if we go to the previous action, look up the user's manager, we can get their email from here. Now, depending on what they choose in the task, either approve or reject, the flow is going to take a different branch. So to be able to set that up, what we're going to do is add a clause. This is called an if condition action. And the clause that we've chosen is to follow the true branch whenever the response outcome is equal to approve. So to do that, you would choose the token picker, go to the task, and then we would select the response outcome. So if they rejected the task, we're going to want to notify them via email. So this action is called send email Gmail. It allows you to send emails on behalf of your Gmail account. So here you can send it to the initiator email. Once again, you can edit the subject and body to give them as much information as you please. However, if the manager did approve, now we have to get the approval of the person who is designated on the table to that specific file. So once again, we're going to use the assign task action. You can add a different display name, a different description, etc. What's going to change here is for the assignee email, we're going to get the approval email from our table. So it would go from the get record action, and we have the approval email here. We also have their name if we want to use it. And you guessed it, once again, we're going to use an if condition to be able to see if they approved or not. So it would be the exact same condition, but this time with this new assigned task action. If they didn't approve, what we're going to do is notify them once again, and we're going to use send email Gmail action. You can customize the email, add a different subject and body, explain who they have to reach out to about the rejection if needed, and then we're going to go ahead and terminate the flow using the terminate action. However, if they did approve, now we have to actually grant them access to the file. Now, depending on which access type they chose on the form, we want to be able to grant them that specific permission. So to do that, I'm going to use a switch by value action. What this is going to allow us to do is to switch depending on what they chose. So here in the input, we're going to select the question that asks for their access type. So it'd be this access level, and then here in value, you would add the options that you added as multiple choice options. And in each one, I've chosen the same action. The only change I've made is here in role. I've either chosen reader, writer, or commenter. So all you have to do is set up your connection to your Google Drive. This action is called share item. You have to indicate the file ID. That one comes directly from our table. We have the ID here. And then you can choose if you want to share with a user, group, etc. In this case, a user. For the email, we can either get it from the initiator email or where we looked up their information. We have their primary email here, so that's also an option. The next action I've added is called current date and time. All you have to do is select a culture, a time zone, and a format. You can even select a custom format. The reason I've done this is to be able to let them know as of this date, you have been granted access. So once again, using the send email Gmail action, you can choose who's going to receive the email. I've also copied the managers so that they're aware. You can edit the subject, the body. Once again, add as many tokens as you think are necessary in the body and the subject. And we also gave them the option to be able to choose how long they want access to the file, whether it be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, etc. So we're going to use the switch by value once again. This time for the question, we're going to ask the duration of their access. So we would select that question, add the different options here. And I've created a variable called access time, where I'm going to store the number of days that they're going to need access. So here where it says 1 day, I have used the set variable action. You would select it from the drop-down menu, click on set, and here the value is 1 since it's only 1 day. For 1 week, I've done the same thing except the value is 7. And for 1 month, you guessed it, the value is 30. However, if it's indefinite time, we don't know how long they're going to need access. So here I'm just reminding the manager via email, again with the send email Gmail action, that the user has indefinite action until it's manually revoked, just so that they're aware. And then I would go ahead and terminate the flow. And then once again, I'm going to retrieve today's date using the current date and time action to be able to calculate how long they're going to need the access for. So using the add date time action for the base date, we're going to get the results of today's date. And then I'm going to add the time from the variable, whether it's 1 day, 7 days, or 30. So to be able to get the variable, I'm going to open up the token picker and click access time here. And then using the pause action, I'm going to pause the flow until a specific time, in this case, until the calculated time from the previous action. So we would get the result from here. And this is going to stop the flow and it's going to resume whenever it's time to revoke their access. Once that has occurred, what we're going to do is revoke their sharing using the delete sharing action. So simply set up your connection to your Google Drive, select the file ID like we have previously from our table, and then here in email, we're going to delete the sharing with a specific email. So we're going to get it either from the form or from the requester information. And then as a last step, we're going to notify them that the access has been revoked. So again, using the send email Gmail action, you can create your email, send it to the requester, and you can even edit the sender display name, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and do a test run. So I'm going to publish the flow and fill out the form by going to the link. I'm going to go ahead and click on submit. As you can see here, we have received a request to approve the access. Here it's letting them know which document wants to be viewed and for how long. So we can either approve or reject. So I'm going to go ahead and now it's sent it to the owner of the file. And here we have it. So here I'm going to go ahead and click on reject. This would be the rejection email that the person would receive. And then we can see that it has terminated the flow. And just like that, you've automated the process of keeping track of these user access requests. making sure that they're taken care of as soon as possible without the hassle of having to communicate from one person to another. And if rejected, you can make sure that the person will not have access to the document. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments section and check out the rest of our use cases in our YouTube gallery. There's also going to be a link in the description where you can sign up to a free no commitment meeting. There we can show you around Zenphi, show you exactly what it would be useful for your business, how it can help you save time and money. We can even help you build your first process for you. All you have to do is sign up. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.